All right, fans, at this time, please welcome tonight's fan tunnel guests, players from the Orangeville Northmen and the Shelburne Vets. And now it's time to get on your feet and make it loud for your Toronto Rock! Number 35, Brendan Miller. Number 66, Rosie Nick Rose. Number 3, Brock Sorensen. Number 4, Jesse Gamble. Number 5, Sandy Chapman. Number 6, Kieran Moncardo. Number 11, Brett Hickey. Number 15, Turner Evans. Number 17, Stefan LeBlanc. Number 23, Challen Rogers. Number 26, give it up for Tom Schreiber. Number 33, Boo Casey Beard. Number 37, the captain, Brody Merrill. Number 44, Jeff Gilbert. Number 45, Damon Edwards. Number 82, Jordan Magnuson. Number 91, Billy Hostrouser. Number 93, Latrell Harris. And number 97, Reed Reinhold. The Rock are coached by Matt Sawyer, assisted by Blaine Manning, Bruce Scott, and Patty Campbell. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Please give a warm Toronto welcome for tonight's opponent. Ian Garrison, Matt Robinson, and the shot clock operator is Ryan Wilson. Fans, please rise and remove your hats and welcome recording artist, actor, and former Army Reserve officer, the Rock's own Scotty Newlands, for the singing of our national anthems. Oh,
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
It's an old school NLL rivalry night as the Toronto Rock host the Buffalo Bandits. Welcome to the Air Canada Centre in Toronto. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan with you. Happy Easter weekend, everybody. Shanny, it's a good Friday. Will it be a great Friday for one of these teams? The Rock, with a win and a New England or Rochester loss this weekend, would clinch a playoff spot for the Buffalo Bandits. We talked with head coach Troy Cordinley earlier tonight. It's do or die right now.
Yeah, you know what? Nothing can mathematically be clinched tonight, but pretty much if Buffalo loses tonight, they're not going to make the playoffs, barring a miracle.
Right.
And if Toronto wins today, they're making the playoffs, barring a miracle from somebody else.
Exactly. The Rock at 8-7 are currently second in the East. Buffalo tied with Rochester at 5-9. The cutoff point is the New England Black Wolves at 7-8, and that's kind of where both the Rock and the Bandits are keeping an eye on. But for the Bandits, Shanny, especially with tonight, after this evening, they got to fly out to Georgia to play the Swarm. The Swarm the last 2 weeks have totaled 42 goals. That's obscene.
Yeah. Georgia had gone, they'd lost 3 out of 4 games and come back down to earth, but since then, they've been on fire. As you said, 21 goals in each of the last 2 games. I don't think Buffalo's thinking about that right now, though. That's not on their radar at all.
No, they absolutely can't. This is the last home game for the Toronto Rock of the regular season. They'll head into Saskatchewan to play the Rush, who going into this weekend are undefeated at home, the only undefeated club at home at 7-0. And then they play the Bandits one more time in Buffalo, and depending how the next few games work out, Shanny, that could be a huge matchup.
Oh, if things go the way Buffalo would like, that would be absolutely huge.
Yeah,
of course, Toronto is hoping that that's a meaningless game by that point.
Yes, exactly. We have Nick Rose starting for the Rock, Anthony Cosmo for the Buffalo Bandits. Shanny, with Nick Rose still leading the NLL with a 10.18 goals against average and 30 save percentage.
Having a great and Cosmo. Back when Cosmo was with Boston 7 or 8 years ago, Nick Rose was a backup there.
Look at him now, starring all the way. And from both teams, for Troy Cordingley and the Bandits, Shanny, he was saying the start is so important. And it will be interesting to see with this team, because he said that there's been effort issues or staying focused the whole game. With so much on the line tonight, it'll be very interesting to see how the Bandits come out.
And really, we got that from both coaches. He said they've been terrible in their starts, and Toronto says Buffalo has been terrible recovering from bad starts. So it is a key for both teams to get off to a good start.
And here we go. Toronto Rock in their blue, red, and white uniforms. Bandits, white, orange, and black. Great crowd here at the Air Canada Centre on a Good Friday. So much on the line as we creep towards the end of another NLL season and get ready for the hunt of the Champions Cup. And chopped to the ground there was Reed Reinhold. What a great season he's had overall. Rumbling up Matthew Bennett.
Transition is going to be a key this game. Both coaches felt that. We talked to assistant coach Blaine Manning. He thought that was Toronto's downfall the last weekend, where they lost 2 games on the road.
And the Rock had 2 consecutive back-to-back weekends before being off last week. They went 2-2 at first, lost the other two, so kind of just evened themselves out. But they are well rested after a tough grind, and the Buffalo Bandits have lost 3 in a row. Rock setting up, a whip, and it's wide. Casey Bierns going for the loose ball. Cosmo, like a lumberjack, chopping. And it's going to be Buffalo ball here, as 1 minute has gone by in the first quarter. Keep an eye, of course, on number 92, Dane Smith, leading the Bandits once again, and Rose comes out cutting down that angle. Great save, nifty outlet pass as well. Gives to Magnuson.
And this is another key that Troy Cordingley said for the Bandits is that if they want to be successful on offense, that ball has got to move. They cannot have 1 or 2 guys holding on to that ball, and so far so good for Buffalo. They're moving that ball around quickly.
Yeah, spread it around and not find themselves in a 4 or 5 goal deficit early on. Brett Hickey, nifty cut, gets the ball swatted away as he made a move towards Cosmo. Snap outlet pass, finds Jones. And Buffalo trying to step back up, stutter step. Stainhouse makes a cut to the low post. You have Ryan Benesh on the floor as well. Skip shot, high off the glass. Benesh doesn't see it. He was tangled up with the man. Now the Rock have an odd man rush. Well, for a moment anyway. Latrell Harris comes back. That shot is wide. Only 1 shot in this game, and it's come from Buffalo.
Well, that was a good scoring chance there, but Evans just shot it wide. A nice setup on a 3-on-2.
Cuts tonight, scratches tonight. Dan Littner for the Rock and Craig England for Buffalo. Now Brock Sorensen working his way back again. A few games after that knee injury. On defense for Toronto. Saunders tries to set the pick. Going for a stroll. Hops up. Oh, swing and a miss. Great setup there by Brunel. Hopped over the crease and was trying for the 1 touch, and it didn't work. Shot clock violation, Rock ball. Air Canada Center coming alive to cheer on the Rock. You have Tom Schreiber on the floor. He receives 4 points away from the Toronto Rock rookie points record held by Garrett Billings in 2010. That mark is set at 83. There's Kieran McCardle. Dropped it. Stephen LeBlanc gobbles it up in the neutral zone. A little bouncer and kept on as the shot clock expires. Buffalo possession. There's Dane Smith. The prototype, if you're going to sculpt a lacrosse player, you might make him out to be Dane Smith. Fast, physical, huge, giant shot as well. Ryan Benesh gets tapped as he couldn't get that shot away. 23 on the shot clock for the Bandits. Fast start so important for Buffalo here. Drop by Stanos. Stanos over the top of the bouncer. Couldn't get all of it. Stanos
that was pretty much, he got checked as he was trying to shoot that by the goaltender. Nick Rose came out stick on stick, and Stanos wasn't able to shoot it.
Saved his own goal there. And Riordan, his offering is intercepted. 2-on-1. Holstrauser scores! Billy Holstrauser makes the pass and buried it. The Rock are up 1-0.
Just his 2nd goal of the season. Holstrauser, one of the better defensive players of the team, probably the toughest guy on the team, makes an interception to get that ball on a 2-on-1, and he just looks off the defender, takes it himself, and puts it in the short side.
And Shanny, this time of year, it's those type of players that score that are so important. People you might not expect that can make the difference.
Well, transition goals, and you know, they usually always come from a defender.
A quick break. High on Cosmo, and he gets that shoulder in the way. Sandy Chapman. Toronto quick off that face-off. Now it's Buffalo fast off the bench. Saunders got rid of it to the left side. Now Jones. Saunders trying to create some room. Jones being pushed back. 10 to shoot. Dropped in for Saunders. He couldn't field it cleanly. He would have been all alone.
Yeah, that was there.
Sorensen brings it over center with a pass. Kieran McCardle. You have Schreiber. Schreiber, stutter step. Pulls it back on the left wing. Schreiber has a lane, deked everybody out, and went to the weak side, but unable to get cleanly. Now a shot.
Nice save by Cosmo.
Toronto tried to get it to that right side, but the pass was just too far that he couldn't do the one swing. Still turned into a good scoring opportunity. Now it's Buffalo. And again, went for a one kind of bouncer there, Anthony Malcolm.
That was some quick feet by Malcolm.
Jesse Gamble brings it over center. Seems like Buffalo earlier trying 5-hole on Rose. Ten on the shot clock for Toronto. Kick back to Hickey. Finds Bearns. Bearns on that left wing to the point. Turner Evans. Evans has the ball knocked free. Nasty hit by Adam Will. Great defense by Adam Will to take the ball away from Turner Evans. And we'll step aside for the first break. Rock lead the Bandits 1-0. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV.
Part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer.
He's got Digby on the take, scores.
Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot. Hit the goal post inside, he scores.
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Back at the ACC, 8:54 to go in the first quarter. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan with you, Rock, leading the Bandits 1-0. This pivotal East Division battle for playoff positioning and seeding. The Rock can help their playoff clinching cause. Stainhouse deked out everyone, including his own man, and that shot way wide by Saunders. Buffalo retains possession, 4 seconds to shoot, and swinging. That ball didn't get all the way through by Mitch Jones. Damon Edwards. Tom Schreiber turns on the jet. Schreiber pulls back, drawing the defense in. Goes down to one hand. 9 on the shot clock for Toronto. Cycling the ball quickly. 4 left now. Schreiber with 2 seconds. They're going to have to do something, and the shot clock hits 0.
He appeared to be unaware of the shot clock there.
So Buffalo back the other way here. For Buffalo's look, I guess, Shanny, it's a success so far. They're only down 1 goal. Typically, as Troy Cordingley said, down 3, 4, 5 at different points and have to claw back and then start taking chances. Buffalo trying to tie things up right here. Stainhouse trying the defense in. Pass intended for Reardon, brought back. High pass, and it's taken in stride sort of by Rogers. Rogers with a one-on-one, puts his shoulder down, little hop step, hop up, and Cosmo shuts the door, hugged that post. Got it right to Sorensen, tosses the man aside.
Sorensen just had nowhere to put that ball. Cosmo came over, and that wasn't going in.
Nifty feed there by Rogers. Blaine Manning, assistant coach of the Rock, said he anticipates this to be a low-scoring game, maybe 1 or 2 goals. Shaping up like that. Mitch Jones diving with a one-hander. Shots even at 5. There's Damon Edwards jogging into Buffalo territory. Here's Brad Hickey. Hickey with 34 goals on the season. Evans takes it off the far boards. 8 seconds. Toronto having trouble penetrating here, using the full 30. Skip shot got caught up. LeBlanc got a screen away. And then Buffalo comes back with it.
both teams are not giving much in a 5-on-5 situation so far. They're playing tight.
No, and it brings up the special team conversation. Buffalo first in power play, Toronto ranked last. This might come down to a special team situation. Harris getting deked out. Rose with a shoulder stop on the stick side. Toronto racing up the floor. Harris, the low pass, diving, and scores! Reed Reinhold off the bench. That play was set up by Harris, and Toronto's up 2-0.
That was a great play by Latrell Harris to get that ball. This was after Dane Smith had a good scoring chance. You don't see the beautiful pass that Harris makes here. You know, he appeared to straddle that line. Don't be surprised if we see a flag thrown on this, but I don't see any move being made by Cordingley yet, and it doesn't appear like he's considering it.
16th goal of the season by Reinhold, coming off of that face-off scrum. But that was all set up by the hard work of Latrell Harris, who's 19 years old. Big, powerful, and man, he's going to be a building block for this Rock team going forward. Over the top hurl by Kieran McCardle. Kick save by Cosmo. Sent out in transition, and hey, Priolo has a chance. Piolo. Oh, and it is swatted, and we have a whistle.
Too many men for Buffalo. They have 6 guys on the floor still.
Wow.
So this wasn't a case of somebody leaving early. This was a case of nobody even going to the bench when somebody came on.
So the in-home to serve is Blaze Reardon. Now we'll see what Toronto can do. Again, as I said, the last ranked power play. Buffalo is 5th in penalty kill.
And not only is Toronto last, they've given up more shorthanded goals than any team in the NLL.
Yeah.
10 shorthanded goals against.
That's right.
Those are momentum killers. That happened to them a couple times their last trip.
And Buffalo has scored 9 shorthanded. Stephen LeBlanc trying to field that ground ball, going up against the captain, Billy D. Smith. Toronto, whoa, with some space, diving, and that stick was redirected. That is dangerous, and Cosmo was hit hard on the way down and shoved as, who is that?
Evans? Yeah, and Evans is going to get a penalty on that.
He went airborne, but he got his stick hacked in the air.
Weiss is probably arguing for a 5. I suspect he got 2 minutes on the play.
Oh, Weiss is going too.
Oh, he may have got the roughing after. Yeah.
All right.
Goaltender interference for Evans, and Weiss got roughing for the retaliation.
So we'll step aside. 2-0 Rock lead the Bandits. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
Action back underway here at the Air Canada Centre. 4:45 left in the first quarter. Rock up on the Bandits 2-0. Buffalo possession here. We had offsetting penalties, but the Rock are still on the power play because of the too many men on the floor. That's a minute 12 to kill for the Bandits. We're doing a nice job of taking a stroll right now. As you said, Shanny, the Rock have given up tied for the most shorthanded goals in the NLL this season.
Still 50 seconds left of the power play for Toronto.
Schreiber behind the back. They're creeping in. Scores! Schreiber to Hickey. Count it. 3-0 Toronto.
And this shot just looked like it went right beside Cosmo's head. Let's watch here. It looked like it went over his head from that angle. Watch, he shoots a high overhead. Cosmo went down. I think that shot went over his head into the net.
Wow. 35th goal of the season for Brett Hickey. And for Schreiber, is that his first point of the night, Shannon?
Yes, it is.
We're on the point record watch for rookie. So now
2 points away from tying Garrett Billings' Toronto Rock rookie record for points.
What a story he has been. Captain America, never played box lacrosse before. Schreiber and McArdle, the American experiment paying off in spades for the Rock. Nobody could have seen the success of Schreiber coming, Shanny.
Not to the level it's been at, that's for sure.
Leading the team in points. Wow. That shot way wide, taken by LeBlanc.
Not sure if that was a shot or a pass off the backboard.
I was going to say it looked almost designed, so it might have been. One for the bouncer. Kind of knuckle. Oh, and it went in. It went in. The ball initially knuckled on Cosmo.
I don't know how that happened. I got to see it again.
We got to see it. Bjorns was fighting for it. It might have gone off the defender.
I think it went off the Buffalo player. That's just Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's Brock picks up the ball. He gets a stick check from Bjorns. And the ball went in the net off the stick check.
Okay, so Bjorns gets credit for it, I guess?
I don't know if he does because he wasn't the last Toronto player to touch the ball. I think it would be the shooter that'll get it. We'll have to find out.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, either way.
he caused it, but he didn't shoot it. It went in off the Buffalo player. This will be an interesting one.
And this is exactly what Troy Cordingley, head coach of the Bandits, said they cannot have happen. Be down early by a chunk and have to claw back and take chances. They're in deja vu for the Bandits. Here's Bjorns. Bjorns! Wide and off the backboards, picked up by Buffalo.
I'm guessing the official scores probably checking the rule book to figure out who that goal goes to.
To see what happens.
I don't even remember who took the shot.
And Buffalo sailing in. Rose makes himself huge. Stainhouse would have been in the crease anyway. Stainhouse really the only Bandit getting consistent penetration behind that Rock defense. And Jalen Rogers just reared back. Ball stays in play somehow as it ricocheted off the glass.
So they did give that goal to McArdle. He had the original shot.
Okay.
Seemed like so long ago.
So McArdle gets credit. And McArdle spinning again. One for the sidearm skip. Rebound taken by Toronto. There's Schreiber again. And
I think this is a penalty going to Toronto. Steph LeBlanc.
So we'll see the top-ranked Buffalo Bandit power play in action here for the first time. Rock's penalty kill is ranked 6th. So special teams has been an issue all season for the Rock.
Yeah, and it's not really unexpected. You know, there's so many new faces and young rookie faces in their lineup. They didn't expect their special teams to be a strong point.
Right, coming into the year, you're right. $1:30 to go. after the penalty to LeBlanc. Hold on, now there's Hickey with some room. Hickey went 5-hole, and Cosmo squatted down to keep it out.
Cosmo's being extra careful on those. After that last goal, he's making sure he knows where that ball is when he gets up.
This is a huge power play for the Bandits here, Shanny, to get on the board and try to get some of that momentum.
They pretty much need to score. There's a minute left in the quarter, and they want to put one in before it's
Ryan
over.
Benesh sends it to the weak side. Couldn't field it cleanly. That box tightening up. Dane Smith at the point. I don't know if that shot got through or not, but
it did. Went
back into the neutral zone. Spanked back in. There's Benesh. Sidearm whip. Well wide. And the shot clock hits 0.
You know, one of the things Courtney said was happening too when they get behind, like specifically talking about last week in Calgary, they got down early, then they seemed to get nervous. And as you mentioned, things often go downhill from there, but he says they were gripping the stick a little tighter, and almost seems that way right now. They need a goal, Buffalo does, to feel something positive about themselves this quarter.
Last minute of play in the quarter, 40 seconds left. 29 seconds on the Buffalo power play, but it's Toronto with possession looking for their 10th shorthanded goal of the year. Great stop by Cosmo. Neutral zone pickup by Schreiber.
Well, that's a huge rebound for Toronto to get to allow them to kill potentially another 30 seconds.
Yeah, and kill off the penalty in its entirety. 9 seconds left on the minor to LeBlanc. Schreiber's.
Rose is checking with the bench to see if they want him to come.
1 second, back to even strength. Schreiber racing around, shot clock at 7. Try to drop in the slot for Evans. Billy D. Smith, vicious as always with that stick work. And that will bring an end to the first quarter. After 1, the Rock lead the Bandits 4-0. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV.
Pro lacrosse teams are now fielded in Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Maryland, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yesterday there was friendly competition and not so friendly competition. We knew our true colors weren't just worn on our backs, they were painted on our faces and hoisted as high in the air as we could possibly carry them. Whatever it took to claim our turf. Yesterday we left it all out there. Blood, sweat, tears, you name it, we left it. We kept ourselves focused and we kept each other in check. And the only thing we took were epic shots. Yesterday we saw more twists and turns in 8 seconds than most people saw in an entire season. We lost the ball, lost our minds, we lost countless times in every game. If you could see the ball, that was a slow day. Yesterday, physics didn't apply to us. Gravity wasn't welcome in our box. Armed with just a stick and a ball, we took flight. Yesterday, we were the best we could be. Today is our day.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
All right, action back underway here into the second quarter. A skip shot by Hickey, stopped by Cosmo. Rock leading 4-0. Time for the quick transition. Cut it in stride, shot wide. Big rebound.
That was a rifle pass by Cosmo.
Man, Rock leading 4-0. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. You can follow along on Twitter at NLL. Brody Merrill, the captain. A nice shot there. Better save by Cosmo. On Twitter at NLL, at AndyMC81, at SBD Shanny. Use the hashtag Buff versus Tor to join the conversation there. Buffalo in white, orange, and black uniforms. Toronto in their blue, red, and white jerseys. Great crowd here at the ACC on a good Friday. Spinning around. That would have been gorgeous by Ryan Benesh. And Toronto, a little bit of a track meet to start the second quarter here. There's Jesse Gamble. Gamble goes back off the mark, and that is a huge rebound. It will be an over and back. Shot 16-7 in favor of Toronto. Brock in the face-off circle, gives it to Stainhouse. Really the only one who's had any sort of success consistently penetrating the Rock defense tonight. As we get the first quarter stats handed to us. Long pass, Hickey had to go up high and missed LeBlanc, who was all alone for a one-timer just over the top of his stick.
That was pretty amazing that Hickey caught that pass.
Yeah, got some nice elevation. There's Malcolm. Malcolm looking for a lane. Whoa, and that goes in. Anthony Malcolm powered off his back foot, contorted his body, and it goes off a Rose and in.
Sure did. That first shot hits the crossbar, but you know how much power is on that shot when it goes off the back of the goaltender and in as quick as it did.
We get another look.
And that's a difficult shot to take while on the run.
12:53 left in the half. That's the 6th goal of the year for Anthony Malcolm. Jordan Magnuson loses the faceoff. Bradley Cree waiting to return for the Rock, the faceoff specialist who is so dominant. He's missed several games now. Buffalo pressing here, looking for their second. They know, Shanny, we said it off the top, this is a must-win for the Bandits. They're tied with Rochester at 5-9 after catch the 7-8 New England Black Wolves. Stainhouse racing in, and Rose got a pad in the way.
And you're not going to stop Stainhouse. It was a good thing for Toronto that Nick Rose stopped the shot, but defensively that was weak. You can't reach over him and expect to stop him when he puts the shoulder down like that.
Oh, no. Stainhouse has been fantastic this game. Stefan LeBlanc. Whoa, that might have hit him. That might have hit the post there.
I think it did.
And LeBlanc is crushed on the near boards by Weiss. Toronto possession. Stefan LeBlanc with that swim move like a pass rusher. Oh, went for the screen, and Cosmo looked behind him. Dane Smith, crisp pass. Oh, went off a Toronto player, and a kick save. Stoned by Rose. What a pass, though, by Dane Smith.
And right now, Nick Rose is the only reason the score is not 4-3.
You're right. You are right there, Shanny. Man, laser accuracy by Dane Smith on that pass, and that other pass to Pat Saunders. There's Merrill. Brody Merrill scores! The captain delivers! And it's 5-1 Toronto.
Well, transition can go both ways. Buffalo just had a great scoring opportunity, saved by Nick Rose. Then it goes the other way. Brody Merrill seems to get one or two of these a game. And this time he makes no mistake, puts it in the top corner.
6th goal of the season.
And you know, this is Merrill's repertoire. He doesn't put on any fakes. He usually just aims for a corner and shoots.
Yep. If he's alone, he's going straight forward. And he did it. And Nick Rose with an assist, who continues to climb the Toronto
the scoring stats, yes. Not only is he making the big saves, he's got 2 goals on the season and another assist.
Man, what a year for Nick Rose, too. Kieran McCardle trying to pick that near corner. Off the backboards, kept in by Toronto. And unable to corral it in. Bjorns with a desperation shot as the shot clock hits 0. Bandits coming back the other way, trying to get something going here. Yeah, Dane Smith, the last time they played in Buffalo, had a 10-point night, 1 goal and 9 assists. And Smith, 3-quarter curl, and that might have been redirected. It's going to be an over and back if Buffalo touches it. So they're standing chatting with Toronto. Sorensen calls it. Merrill gets it. The captain again scores! Brody Merrill with another back-to-back goals from the captain.
Well, it's a hot night for Brody Merrill. And again, nothing fancy, just look for a spot. This time he goes to the 5-hole. And right now, if there's one player Cosmo doesn't want to see shooting, I think it's Brody Merrill.
Who would have thought we'd say that, Shanny? 6-1 the score. Toronto almost doubling the Bandits in shots at 21-11. You got to feel the desperation has got to be creeping into the minds of the Buffalo Bandits, not wanting to let this one get too out of hand. Five minutes have gone by in this corner and scores! Wow! Out of nowhere, Mitch Jones in stride picked the far top shelf, and it's 6-2.
And that was a nice shot. Now this was looking like Stainhouse coming around the other side earlier. Just curling around up top. Nobody following him. But an excellent shot to finish it off.
That was perfect placement. 25th goal of the year for Mitch Jones. It's a game of inches, as we know, Shanny, and that was, if a half second later, Rose would have been over there. Face-off scrum kicked away by Buffalo. Luis, and now Toronto trying to pick it up. Brody Merrill.
Brody Merrill's usually money on those.
Yeah. Sandy Chapman, the wily veteran, turning on the Jets. Getting out over center, and he does. Jesse Gamble off the bench. What a feed there to Turner Evans. Jesse Gamble. Dynamite pass. Better save, though, by Cosmo. Evans in the near corner.
You know, Toronto almost got called for not getting the ball over half within 8 seconds, but they turned that into a glorious scoring opportunity.
Evans on the right wing. Looking to pass it. He does to LeBlanc. Puts to the left side over the top. Schreiber denied by Cosmo.
The shots now 22-12 for Toronto.
Priolo on the near side. Now Stainhouse in the neutral zone. Stainhouse has Dane Smith with him on the left. Smith with the pick. Stainhouse, so feisty. Priolo, got the referee down south a little bit.
Well, you know, as dangerous as Stainhouse is, this is what Troy Cordley doesn't like to see. Doesn't want to see him holding the ball for 20, 30 seconds.
Right, and try to do too much.
You know, it's tough because sometimes he can do so much, but then when it doesn't work, nobody else is touching the ball.
Reed Reinhold looking for a lane. Drops to LeBlanc, and Cosmo diving over to make that save. And Cosmo starting to get hot here in between the pipes for Buffalo. You can feel that the Bandits are starting to feel it. Smith with the drop. Priolo, 12 to shoot. Priolo crunched out. Trying to draw the defense in, intended for Benesh, intercepted by Toronto.
Toronto had a couple of offensive players playing defense there, Reinhold and Hickey, and that was the great interception made by Hickey. You know, when you're a coach, you're always a little bit nervous when your offensive guys are stuck playing defense.
Reinhold puts his shoulder down. Three-quarter shot. Cosmo went to a knee. And that will take us to our first break of the second quarter. Rock lead the Bandits 6-2. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV.
Got Digby on the take, scores.
Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot. Hit the goal post inside, he scores!
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Back at the ACC, 7:44 to go in the second quarter. 6-2 Toronto leads Buffalo. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. Bandits pretty much need to win to keep any sort of playoff hopes alive. The Rock, with a win and a New England or Rochester loss, would clinch a playoff spot. They currently sit second in the East. Stainhouse, left side. Try to put it to the weekend there, and Billy Ostrauser has a goal tonight. Picks it up, pass intended for Ryan Benesh, and Billy Holstrauser rumbles over center. Gives to Gamble. Gamble, the feet off the bench, a little give and go. Pulls back, didn't like what he saw.
A smart play by Gamble.
Yeah. Brad Hickey to Reinhold. Reinhold was looking for LeBlanc, couldn't see him. 8 seconds to shoot. That shot got redirected on the way to Cosmo. Reinhold picks it up off the glass, skips away, ground ball taken by Toronto. Cosmo looked behind him.
Now that was a broken play that almost turned into a goal.
Yeah.
That ball, that was not meant to be a pass by Reinhold. That came out of his stick.
Shots 26-13 in favor of Toronto. There's Anthony Malcolm. Malcolm was 1 goal tonight. Malcolm. Oh, that would have been a terrific opportunity for Stainos. Gets it back anyway. Wide and far, and Rose saw it all the way. Somebody lost their stick there. Stainos behind the back pass, fooled everybody, and referee gets hit again.
Pass was just off the mark a bit.
Whoa, and that was an absolute bullet from Malcolm. Rose with the save.
Toronto was in trouble. The defender had lost his stick. Stainos recognized that, and the pass was just off its mark.
And Troy Cordingley said this year they've lost a lot of 1-2 goal games where the year before where they got to the finals it went their way. Shoulder saved by Cosmo. That's been part of it. Troubles for the Bandits. Brunel. And again, just too far into the mesh of Nick Rose. Dishes to McCardle. Kieran McCardle travels from Long Island, New York with Tom Schreiber. McCardle looking back and tried for the pass.
The play was there, but by the time he made the pass, McCardle had LeBlanc open, but that pass was way over his head and a little too late.
A wave starting here at the Air Canada Centre. Happy Easter weekend and Good Friday to everybody. Stainhouse receives. Stainhouse trying to get Rose moving. He saw it, and the ball trickled out dangerously, but no Buffalo defender in the way, and Stainhouse in a pushing contest with Holstrauser.
Well, so far the referee is not calling the little stuff like that, but it is getting pretty rough.
There's Reed Reinhold trying to center up. Sends it to the left wing. Schreiber. Backpedaling now. Hickey trying to create a lane. Schreiber spinning. Ball knocked free. Has Watt on him. Nice loose ball as the shot clock expires. And Toronto in this half, Shanny, have used a lot of the full 30 seconds, and we'll actually take the break and come back with 4:27 to go. The Rock lead the Bandits 6-2. You're watching the NLL on NLL.
Tyson, I don't know about you, but even though 2000
If you're a player looking for a lightweight head that delivers power and control, string up the Under Armour Command Low.
Sign up and get all the latest NLL news delivered right to your inbox. Visit NLL.com and sign up for the NLL newsletter now. Welcome back to the ACC. 4:18 to go in the first half. Toronto leads Buffalo 6-2. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. Bandits with possession here. Benesh gets riveted to Dane Smith. Big Dane Smith, stutter step, shot through a screen. Tremendous save by Nick Rose. And now Toronto barreling down. Brody Merrill. He might be thinking hat trick. Got rid of it instead. With the pass, and that ball will sail out of play.
Nick Rose has made some tremendous saves for Toronto.
And that's what Dean Smith, Shannon, what some people forget is he can score from any angle. He can drop his shoulder and stick from anywhere.
Yeah, he's got a great outside shot, but he's got a great, for such a big man, quick feet.
Buffalo trailing by 4, right on the rebound, and the Bandits will scoop it up, but being double teamed. Priolo trying to get it back. Magnuson eventually scoops it up.
That was a good job by Magnuson to throw in the double team.
And Toronto already with 27 shots with 3:17 left in the second quarter. Dallin Rogers dumps it eventually to LeBlanc, who gets it. And LeBlanc went stick side far, and Cosmo with the save. And now Buffalo trying for the odd man, but Toronto's transition getting back on the floor. Stainhouse dropped to the point in full. Whoa. Nick Rose and anybody else is lucky that ball did not hit.
Referee was lucky he didn't hit that.
Dean Smith in full stride and all his weight behind it, man.
And a great play. He was the 5th guy off the bench.
You look at Dane Smith, 6'3", 195. Jesse Gamble in the neutral zone for the Rock.
You know, in the last 7 or 8 minutes, Nick Rose has been the best player on the floor.
No, you're right. And Cosmo's really stepped up his game,
He's played
too.
well. They're taking a lot of outside shots at him, and he's not letting any of them in.
LeBlanc on the right, and Jesse Gamble tried to spin around and got creamed. Gamble's only about 5'7". He turned into...
and he looks like he's in a little pain going to the bench.
Turned into 2 big white jerseys there. Stainhouse on the left wing, shuffling in. Stainhouse backpedaling, 15 on the shot clock, point blank range, and Rose again. Man. Long outlet pass, Schreiber giving chase. Had Watt with him. Now the Bandits chugging up the floor here is Priolo. Priolo clicks on the pass, went for the bouncer 5-hole, was off the mark. That was Pat Saunders, who soared in off the Buffalo bench. Bandits retain possession, though. You have Malcolm there. High save. Toronto with that rebound. $1:14 left in the first half. Brad Hickey left side, and no chance for Toronto there. Buffalo with 50 seconds to go in the opening half. We'll try to get one more. Make this a 3-goal game. Malcolm sidesteps his way in. Turns on the heat. Whoa, man, Anthony Malcolm. He did just about everything there. Slow, fast sidestep, drop the shoulder, and buries it. Man.
Well, we've had a great display of outside shooting from Malcolm and Jones. And both of Malcolm's goals have been pretty much perfect. The first one went off the crossbar and off the back. This one goes off a post.
With that head fake. Just got Merrill to go the other way for a second, Shane.
Just threw a screen.
Well done. So, positive to end the half for the Buffalo Bandits. Now it's the Rock doubling them up 6-3, 35.4 seconds left.
Too much time left for Toronto to pull their goaltender.
Yeah.
Watch, they'll probably try to take a late shot anyhow because they don't want Buffalo getting, 10, 15 seconds. They would like Buffalo to get, 5 seconds max on offense.
Rose coming out of his net, but
he's just threatening.
Yeah. And now Rose is jogging.
I still think
now
it's a fake.
Back.
Yeah.
10 seconds to go in the half. 3 on the shot clock. And the Rock will not get a shot away. Buffalo will have 4 seconds. Anthony Cosmo looks like he's going to. Well, now everyone's going to the bench.
They're calling a timeout.
On a timeout?
I believe. No, maybe not. If they're not, they got way too many people on the floor.
They better be a timeout.
There's about 14 guys on the floor.
And Shanny, while we have a chance, want to give a shout out to Troy Cordingley's daughter.
Yes, his daughter, Daisha, 10 years old, just had her appendix out a couple days ago, and she's recovering now and doing well. So
glad to hear that.
For Troy and the family, Darla's his wife, shout out to young Daisha, and we hope you're doing well.
Yeah, hope you're feeling much better. And also from Buffalo Bandits, Rich Kilgore.
Yeah,
not here tonight. Fell off a roof.
He's not on the bench. Yes, we were informed he fell off the roof, broke his shoulder. Did it say?
And foot.
Oh my gosh.
Last weekend. We know how tough a customer Rich Kilgore is.
I was just going to say, we know he's one tough customer. But,
I feel bad for the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So we hope Rich recovers as well. I'm sure he's in a lot of pain and would love to be out here. I wouldn't be surprised. He'll be back with this team soon. But I had the pleasure of playing lacrosse with Rich Kilgore, Troy Cordingley, all great guys, great competitors. And we can see that.
No doubt.
Only have to talk to these guys for a couple of minutes to realize how competitive they are.
The passion and knowledge of the game, second to none. 1 second left, and that shot was wide, and that'll do it for the first half. The Rock lead the Bandits 6-3, and Shanny, I think if you look as a whole, you'd say, all right, the Rock controlled the game until maybe the last 5-6 minutes when Buffalo really caught up in the shot category, but the saves made by Nick Rose, and you said it, he really has kept the Rock in this game.
Yeah, I think Coach Cordingley can find a lot of positives for his team. If you think about it, 5-on-5 lacrosse, Toronto hasn't been doing much. They've got a couple of goals by Merrill, the transition, a few goals transition. They got Hostrauser got one. They got that fluky goal that went in off the Buffalo player, but
from McCardle.
And a power play. So I believe 5-on-5. I think Toronto's only scored 1 goal against them and their set offense. So Buffalo's defense isn't doing bad.
No, so that's a plus for the Bandits. So, Shanny, there's no excuses. You have 2 quarters left to essentially try to save your season, as the Bandits will head into Georgia tomorrow for the Rock. A win and a loss by Rochester, New England would mean a playoff spot. This is the only game on the NLL schedule tonight. Tomorrow, oh boy, we got a full slate. Buffalo at Georgia, 7:05. Rochester into Colorado. New England at Saskatchewan, where the Rush have not lost all season. And then Calgary takes on Vancouver in a very interesting West battle that could give Calgary that 3rd spot in the West. So busy night on NLL TV tomorrow. We will step aside and come back for the 3rd quarter. Rock lead the Bandits 6-3. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLL TV.
Pro lacrosse teams are now fielded in Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Maryland, Montreal, and Quebec.
Yesterday, there was friendly competition and not so friendly competition. We knew our true colors weren't just worn on our backs, they were painted on our faces and hoisted as high in the air as we could possibly carry them. Whatever it took to claim our turf. Yesterday, we left it all out there. Blood, sweat, tears, you name it, we left it. We kept ourselves focused and we kept each other in check, and the only thing we took were epic shots. Yesterday we saw more twists and turns in 8 seconds than most people saw in an entire season. We lost the ball, lost our minds, we lost countless times in every game. If you could see the ball, that was a slow day. Yesterday physics didn't apply to us. Gravity wasn't welcome in our box. Armed with just a stick and a ball, we took flight. Yesterday, we were the best we could be. Today is our day.
Welcome, lacrosse fans. Tyson Geik of NLL Productions here with you right now, and I'm joined by Shake Hewen, CEO and founder of
Lacrosse League logo honors its over 30 years of history, but also pushes towards a new era, a new day. An updated colorway of black and silver illuminates the way forward, with technology and innovation as our mandate. The shield captures the warrior spirit of the physical battle of sport while being modern enough to appeal to new audiences. The goal. By extruding the shape of the shield, the container is one that is a nod to the ubiquitous shape of a lacrosse goal. The original four arrows representing the founding of our league with 4 professional box lacrosse teams. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New Jersey, Philadelphia converged to create the NLL star, a modern interpretation of a star that combines both the arrows of the original 4 teams and a Native American morning star. The 4 arrows converge to create the heart of the star representing the current teams and the fans who are the beacon of the future of the National Lacrosse League. This is the National Lacrosse League. Today is our day.
National Lacrosse League. From the practice roster to a 50-goal season, we caught up with the Toronto Rock forward to find out more about his journey. Brad Hickey grew up in Windsor, Ontario, a town that wasn't really known for their lacrosse program, but he fell in love with the sport at a young age.
My dad threw me into lacrosse when I was 4. I think that summer he put me into t-ball as well, and lacrosse was the one that stuck. I ended up loving it and stuck with it my whole life. Obviously, I grew up watching the Toronto Rock, and you know, my idol was Colin Doyle.
In 2011, he was drafted 43rd overall by the Washington Stealth. His dream of playing in the NLL coming true. I was ecstatic. It was a dream come true for me, and I got to experience a whole new life outside of Windsor. I had never been on a plane before. I had never traveled really outside of Ontario. But his time with the Stealth was mostly spent on the practice roster, totaling 5 goals between 2012 and 2014. Obviously, it didn't work out in terms of playing. Went through some struggles, but I was also coming from a junior B program, and I had to learn the game and develop and learn some of the fundamentals again at a higher level and be able to adjust my gameplay to be successful at this level, and it took probably about 3 years for that to happen. He was given a second chance with the NLL, and this time with a team he grew up watching, the Toronto Rock. For me, this was my last kick of the can, so to speak. I was going to give it everything I got
And with younger players coming up, I kind of felt that this was kind of my last shot to really make an impression and crack a lineup and basically seize that season opportunity. And so I put all my eggs in one basket and I went for it.
It seemed Hickey's hard work had paid off. In 2015, he emerged as an offensive powerhouse for the Rock, scoring 50 goals.
I hope he spins to the net, scores!
But the Cinderella story didn't quite have a happy ending that season. In Game 2 of the Champions Cup, Hickey's dreams of helping lead his team to victory came crashing down in the warm-up.
Took a shot on Rosie and shoot around in the morning. And initially I thought it was a ball, but I just felt my foot give out from under me. And I felt the crunch along the side of my foot and my ankle. That was the end of my season in the championship run. It was unfortunate. I was devastated and upset. More importantly, because I wanted to be there for my teammates and help them win, and I wasn't able to do that.
And as they say, when it rains, it pours. Another injury in 2016.
I ended up dislocating my shoulder on March 26th against Saskatchewan, and that required surgery in June, and that was the end of my season.
But with hard work this offseason, he says he's 100% ready to go and make an impact in 2017.
I feel confident. I feel good. Personally, I feel strong. I feel in shape. I feel ready to go. Probably the best I've felt in probably a year and a half. And as a team, I think we're ready to turn a corner.
For NLL Productions, I'm Mia Gordon.
Time now for my box bosses, and with 3 games going on this weekend, it was pretty easy to pick my top 3. One player from each team, of course, and I'm going to start with last week's unstrung hero, Mark Matthews from the Saskatchewan Rush. Matthews got creative in this game, was a ton of fun to watch. One of his shots just caught Richards by surprise. Chokes up on the stick, getting the shot off quickly. It was one of his 3 goals on the night, and he'd add 4 assists for 7 points against the Stealth. And I move on to number 2 from the Calgary Roughnecks, Curtis Dixon. When Dixon's going, the Roughnecks are usually going. 4 goals, 6 assists for 10 points in week 15, 1 shorthanded, 1 on the power play. This guy's deadly and in the hunt for the scoring title. He's helped the Roughnecks to 3 straight wins. And at number 1, I couldn't make any mistake with this one, Randy Stotts from the Georgia Swarm. 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 loose balls. He opened the scoring in every single quarter of the game, twice even strength, once on the power play, once shorthanded, 2 goals in the first 2 minutes of the game. So he was a huge part of that Georgia Swarm start.
Bandit Land, get into the action this season as the Buffalo Bandits set out to defend their East Division title. Get your tickets now, starting at just $21. Or purchase your McDonald's Family 4-pack for just $69. Tickets are available now at the KeyBank Center box office, online at bandits.com, or by phone at 1-888-467-2273. See you in Bandit Land.
He'll be directing you where to go. Watch, Vic! Vic! Hello!
Come on now. Want a little heat? Yeah. Here we go. On 3. Boom. Drop it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the NLL Social Circle, where we take a look at some of the big stories happening around the league on social media this week. And it all starts off with a surprise from the NLL. If you're one of our subscribers to our newsletter, you probably already know what it is. If not, well, what are you waiting for? Later this weekend, we will have the big announcement for you. You are going to want to make sure you subscribe before next week's action gets underway. Well, the NLL production studio got a visit from the Easter Bunny this week, or should I say Toronto Rock goaltender Nick Rose, and we decided to put him to the ultimate challenge in the first ever Easter accuracy test. Let's take a look at the video. To check out the full video, make sure to head on over to NLLTV.com. Well, the Rochester Nighthawks were out in the community this week handing out equipment and giving practice to...
Sorry to cut you off there, Mia. Action underway here in the third quarter at the Air Canada Centre. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. The Toronto Rock lead the Buffalo Bandits 6-3. Rocking their blue, red, and white uniforms. Bandits white, orange, and black jerseys. Rock from right to left on your screen. There's Bearns, and Cosmo is right there hugging that post.
Really not a lot of offense from either team this game, even though Toronto's got 6 goals. 4 of them were on transition, 1 power play, and then 1 kind of freaky goal that was knocked in off a defender's stick.
That eventually went to Kieran McArdle, credit. And we might have another strange one here. Trying to split the D, draw it back for Damon Edwards off the bench, and Turner Evans just ran out of real estate.
And I think goal line. Often it's the wiser move. You know, you've got a bad angle shot. You better off waiting.
Yeah. And that must be tough, Shanny, right? Because the adrenaline's going. You want that. You want to take it. Schreiber, sidearm, and Cosmo went down and fell on top of it. Very close. We're on point watch for Tom Schreiber, the rookie. He is 3 points away from becoming the all-time Rock rookie point leader. He would pass Garrett Billings. He's the team leader right now with 81 points on the season.
Had a very quiet game for the offense, the big names on both teams.
Yeah, just 1 assist for Schreiber. Coming back, whoa, and that, no, and now it scores. Yes, off the rebound. That was a very strange transition. The one shot from the point kind of went by, and then we'll have to take another look, Shannon.
Yeah, it was
going to go to Banesh.
Outside shot, hit the post, and Banesh scooped up the ground ball. Watch this, and this is where the defenders, and it just such a quick reaction that it actually was in Banesh's stick and in the net before Nick Rose could react, and even the defender in Toronto, like, you know, you want to box out guys from rebounds, but that one came out so quick and was already in the stick of Banesh.
That's a great start for Buffalo, who are now down by 2. And all season, Troy Cordley told us before the game, Shannon, they had to play catch-up. So this is not a new situation for them.
No, and now that's 3 goals in a row for Buffalo.
But Toronto will be going to the power play, so they may not be able to build on that momentum.
Just the second power play for Toronto this game. They scored on their last one on a Brett Hickey blast.
Nick Weiss in the box, 2 minutes for boarding. Now we'll see what Toronto's last place power play can do. They have one tonight. Came from Brett Hickey. LeBlanc takes it off the glass. LeBlanc feeds Schreiber. Schreiber! And Cosmo with a kick save. Tremendous stop by Cosmo. Loose ball scramble in behind the goaltender. And we have some pushing and shoving, as is accustomed between Buffalo and Toronto.
Yeah, wouldn't be Buffalo and Toronto if there wasn't some pushing and shoving.
No. Shots 31-24 in favor of the Rock. In case you missed the playoff implications of this game, for the Bandits, they play in Georgia tomorrow and at 5-9 time with Rochester for last in the East. They got to win this to stay alive in the playoff hunt. And for the Rock, a win and a New England or Rochester loss would clinch them a playoff spot after missing the postseason last year. And Buffalo just trying to kill off this penalty. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. They'll give it to Benesh. Weak shot. And now a minute to kill for the Bandits.
Watch for a shot from the top three.
And you have Schreiber there.
Schreiber switch positions.
Yeah. Clicks with Schreiber. Finds Hickey playing catch with Schreiber. Starting to pinch in. 10 to shoot. Going to the other side. Went for Reinhold. Corrals that ball in. Does Hickey. 3 seconds left. They have to move quickly. They do. Cosmo's waiting for it, though. He was already set up. Now 25 seconds left on the man advantage for Toronto. There's Brunel, almost pushed back over center. And now Buffalo with a shorthanded chance. Buffalo has a scoop save by Rose. That would have been the 11th shorthander against Toronto.
And that's a scary prospect when you see Smith coming down and basically a 2-on-1. Who do you take?
Weeks out of the box. And we are back to even strength here. 5 on the shot clock. Toronto coming in now. Went for that screen. And from the left side of Cosmo, Toronto not being able to have any sort of success.
Yeah, Cosmo's reading the outside shot so well.
And the defense doing a great job of keeping bodies away. There's a big rebound. Gobbled up by Weiss of Buffalo.
And that's a tough shot. Cosmo is seeing the ball well of late. Probably since the last Toronto Rock goal, when Patrick Merrill scored a pair of goals within a short span of time. Since then, Cosmo stopped everything.
Yeah, Brody Merrill was nice little run there. Ryan Benesh being pushed out. He can't find a lane. 4 to shoot. Back beyond the line. High shot. And that will go off of Nick Rose. So it should be Buffalo ball, and it is. Reardon trying to set up in the high post. He's now pushed back. And Anthony Malcolm, who scored a couple of gorgeous goals tonight. Ryan Benesh races to the net. Back to the point. All over now, and it didn't make its way through. Magnuson may have saved a goal there. And the Rock back the other way. A 2-on-1 for the moment. In behind Chapman. It looks like he will wait for the offense to come on the floor wisely. Under 10 minutes to go in this third quarter. 6-3 Toronto. There's Casey Behrens. And Schreiber, long pass to the right. Kieran McCardle. Stefan LeBlanc gets knocked away, and another full 30 used by Toronto, Shanny. And we'll talk about what that means when we come back. 6-4, Rock lead the Bandits. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV.
Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Sports Interaction, Canada's home for worldwide sports betting. Bet responsibly at sportsinteraction.com. Disclaimer, only residents of Canada may open an account with Sports Interaction. The service is not available to users outside of Canada.
This copyright telecast of the National Lacrosse League Incorporated may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast with the express written consent of the National Lacrosse League. Back to the ACC. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. 6-4. Toronto leads the Bandits. 9:28 to go in the third quarter. Jones receives outside. Buffalo creeping within striking distance, down by 2. Need this to stay alive. They wouldn't be mathematically eliminated, but Shanahan would take a miracle for the Bandits to make the playoffs if they drop this one tonight.
And right now they're playing some good lacrosse. The Toronto Rock have not scored a goal in over 15 minutes.
Wow.
And Buffalo has scored the last 3.
The goaltenders have been stealing the show. Cosmo, after a bit of a shaky start, Toronto went up 4-0, has been a wall, as is Nick Rose. Toronto having trouble getting bodies in front of Cosmo. And you saw that one as well, and nobody was able to get in close enough to take advantage of any rebound.
Well, Toronto's been taking the outside shots and having no luck with it. Cosmo's been playing great.
If Dane Smith on the floor, had a 10-point night the last time these two clubs played in Buffalo. Ryan Benesh straight on to Rose. Big juicy rebound. And Jesse Gamble is there to gobble it up. And number 4 sprinting over center. Jesse Gamble rolling the dice. Sidearm whip. It's high. And he is tackled afterwards. And now off the bench will be a breakaway for Buffalo. Alone. Scores! And it is the big man, Dane Smith, with his first of the night.
And a rookie mistake by Jesse Gamble. On the 4-on-2, he took a desperate outside shot that missed big time. That rebound with a good change from the Buffalo bench. Dane Smith coming off, gets an easy breakaway, and Jesse Gamble walks off the floor hanging his head.
Yeah, you're right, Jenny. He is a veteran, and that was not the wisest move.
That's actually the second time he's taken a shot that's missed wide and turned into a huge rebound. The last time didn't turn into a goal, and I thought that he had probably decided at that point not to be doing it again.
Well, Damon Edwards being smushed in along the glass on the near boards here. Loose ball scrum now. And when you have Dane Smith one-on-one, the odds aren't going to be in the goaltender's favor too often. We have a whistle here.
And you did mention sometimes, when you come down offensively and it's tough to curl up and wait for the offense to come on, and sometimes you feel you got a great scoring chance and it's just too hard to say no to the shot.
And Buffalo's going to the box here. Holding is the call.
Holding the stick.
That's going to be to Mitch DeSnew, who is not happy with the call, and he's up and complaining to the officials. Billy D. Smith getting an explanation. Captain of Buffalo.
Somebody else.
Oh.
I don't know.
Well, it's weird if the in-home is in there.
If he might have got a 10-minute, or whether they got a bench. Let's see if they're going to keep 3 on the floor or 4. If it's down to 3 on the floor, then they must have got a bench penalty on top of that.
Yeah, now there's 3 on the floor. So Reardon's the in-home. Okay, so the Rocks' last place power play will have a great opportunity to score their first goal in over 16, 17 minutes. Creeping in, alone, went high, wide. And Buffalo will get to eat up a good chunk here. So it'll be a 5-on-3 for 1:44. Nick Weiss puts his shoulder down. Nick Weiss with the afterburners on, rumbling, stumbling, and holds on. And Weiss just saying, I'm just gonna stand here. 10 seconds left to shoot. Now Weiss moving up a little bit. Double, triple team, ball finally knocked free. And Jones will just dump it with 3 seconds left, and they ate up a good chunk of that first minute. Under 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. minute 10 with the 2-man advantage for Toronto.
And this is a critical point in the game. Either way, if Buffalo kills it, that's huge momentum for them.
Toronto converting 43.4% of the time on the power play. Back to the point blank range, and Cosmo with the shoulder. Rebound, this ball's still loose right in front of the Buffalo bench, and it goes into the crowd. Who's going to get it? Buffalo will.
An unfortunate play for LeBlanc. LeBlanc had grabbed that ball and scooped it off his own stick into the Buffalo bench.
They have Anthony Malcolm. And if Buffalo can kill this off, Shanny, 44 seconds. Oh.
You know, they can kill 30 seconds here.
Oh, and Malcolm, they might want more than that. Scores! Anthony Malcolm, a one-man wrecking crew, his third of the night, and this one is shorthanded.
And when we talk about momentum, Toronto's on a 2-man power play and allow Malcolm to make it to the net and score a short-handed goal. Generally, you don't see many short-handed goals when a team is 2-man short, but usually when you do, it's off a fast break on a bounce or a strange bounce. He just rumbled through the defense, so the Toronto Rock coaches can't be pleased with what they've seen of late.
No, he willed his way past 2-3 Toronto defenders, and Toronto, with a 2-man advantage, is looking like they're shorthanded. Now we're all tied up at 6. We got a whole new ballgame here, folks. Toronto trying to slow things down, be calculated. Schreiber receives. Playing catch with Bierns, who's at the goal line. 8 seconds with the 2-man advantage, then it'll go back to even strength. Schreiber takes it, a shot, and somehow Cosmo saved it. Wow. And that will bring an end to the 2-man advantage. Incredible, Shanny. Not only did Buffalo kill off a 2-minute 5-on-3, they also scored shorthanded, and Toronto now leads the NLL in shorthanded goals allowed at 11.
Just a kill alone would have been a huge uplift for Buffalo to kill.
Oh, they have another penalty. No. Okay, it's over now. There we go.
I think they came out a second early and they were sent back. But yes, just a kill would have been huge for Buffalo, but they got the kill plus the shorthanded goal.
Well, all the momentum on the Bandit side now. Ryan Benesh trying to set up in the high post. There's Reardon. Reardon diving. Went short side. How did that go in? That went in and out. And I think that was Reardon.
Yes, and it was a great play by Reardon. Does a bit of a twister shot at the last second as he's driving to the net. Not much angle. Watch what he does with his stick.
Oh, and that came right back out, yeah.
Yeah, somehow I think he took a hard hit.
Yeah, tornado.
And this guy Reardon is having a good game. That's his first goal of the game, along with a couple of assists. He's an All-American. Was an All-American goaltender at University of Albany, one of the top NCAA field lacrosse teams in the States.
Nice transition there. Now Buffalo is their first game of the lead. They're looking for more. Mitch Jones in stride. Shoulder saved by Nick Rose. And Toronto on their heels. Damon Edwards with a spinning receive on that pass. Under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And this second half has been all Bandits. There's Brett Hickey. Hickey diving, and the ball came out of his stick as he was falling into the crease. And we will take a break as there's some pushing and shoving. The Bandits now lead Toronto 7-6. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV. 5 minutes for Brock Sorensen on the high stick. So, the Rock have that, and Shanny, they're going up against the #1 power play in the NLL, the Buffalo Bandits, who coming into this game have converted at 60% of their man advantage opportunities.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Buffalo Bandits down at the bottom of the NLL, one of the worst records in the league, and yet they have the #1 power play. It's not surprising when you look at some of the guys who are out here, but it's surprising that they have played so poorly throughout the season.
Ryan Benesh creeping in. He receives. Benesh has a click and scores! Ryan Benesh! Benny and the Jets with his second of the night. And of course, because of that chance, the 5, the Bandits will remain on the power play.
Yeah, they'll get a chance to score 2 power play goals on this 5 minutes. And even if they get 2, Sorensen won't get out. They won't be shorthanded after the 2 goals.
And so now you have the Bandits up by 2 after trailing 4-0 early in the game.
Scoring 7 straight goals now.
And the Rock have not scored in this half since, what'd you say, the 4:42 mark?
Of the second quarter, yeah.
Bandits have clamped down. It's must win for them. They know it. Just a gamble with the drop to Magnuson. Oh, and that is a broken up play. Rose will come out though. And Rose is kind of tripped up there. I think the Rock wanted a call. Might have tripped under his own feet though. Just over 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And still 4:11 to go on the high sticking major to Sorensen. Benesh on the floor is now moving into the low post. Saunders there as well. Buffalo taking their time, creeping in forward to shoot, and intercepted by Toronto.
A really smart play by Brody Merrill.
And now the Rock may be looking for something shorthanded here. Shot right on by Stefan LeBlanc. And now coming back the other way, there's Ryan Benesh off the bench. Back to Benesh, and Rose slides over. Massive save by Nick Rose. Jeff Gilbert in the neutral zone. Jeff Gilbert being hacked as he tries to eat up some clock. 15 seconds on that shot clock and 3:13 on the major to Sorensen. Buffalo has allowed 9 shorthanded goals this season themselves. And Hickey trying to do it all himself from a knee. Toronto has scored 4 shorthanded goals this season themselves. 41 seconds to go in the third quarter. And Buffalo all the time in the world here. No rush with that major and still 2:40 to go. Shot wide off the backboards. Reardon spinning, kicks it back to the point. Overhand and count it. Steenhouse, after working all night, is finally rewarded. And it's 9-6 Buffalo.
Well, the outside shot by Steenhouse, he has been taking them all night. One of them has led to a goal earlier. But this one, watch the shot here.
Oh, wow.
That just found the spot.
Laser-like accuracy. And Shaney, we were saying coming in, power play or special teams could be the story of this game. And so far, the Bandits have scored twice with the man advantage and once short-handed. 12 seconds to go in the third.
Yeah, Toronto's 1 for 2 on the power play, but giving up that short-handed. And their second power play was a 5-on-3 for a full 2 minutes.
And that will do it for quarter number 3. And what a difference. At the half, the Rock were up 6-3. They now trail 9-6 with 1 quarter left to play. We'll take the break. Rock and Bandits here. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLL TV.
Tyson, I don't know about you, but even though 2017 isn't over, I'm already excited for the 2018.
Here at Canada Center for the fourth quarter. Andy McNamara alongside Brian Shanahan. It is an old school East Division rivalry. The Buffalo Bandits, after being down 4-0, are now up 9-6. They trailed 6-8 at the half. Rock hasn't scored since 4:42 of that second quarter. You can follow us on Twitter at NLL, at SBD Shanny, myself at AndyMC. Do you want to use the hashtag Buff versus Tor? Get in on the conversation. And Shanny, that conversation has to begin with Toronto trying to score somehow here.
Well, what a quarter it was for the Bandits. 6-0 in that quarter for the Bandits.
Wow. And Dane Smith, he chucked that one and it was wide left.
And not only was it 6 straight goals by the Bandits in that quarter, they ended the second quarter with the last 2 goals. So the Bandits have scored 8 in a row.
Wow. Now it's the Rock in their blue, red, and white uniforms. Bandits white, orange, and black. Rock going from left to right on your screen. Dump for Reinhold. Ran out of real estate, but got a nifty pass out. Evans couldn't do anything with it, though, and that pass was swatted down. He'll try to keep it over and does. 9 seconds on the shot clock. And Buffalo continues to make Toronto use up the full 30 and not give them any sort of quality scoring opportunities, as he nearly dumped it in there. And Toronto at one point was doubling Buffalo in the shot category, and now it's almost even 40-37 for Toronto in that. Bandits looking for more. Looking much more like the East Division winning club of a year ago. Right now, whoa, and that's going to continue. Mark Steenhouse, second goal in a row. Steenhouse from the point. It bounced and went 5-hole on Rose. And things are getting ugly here for the Rock.
Well, Steenhouse has scored a lot of goals for this Bandits team in his career. And what he has always had in his repertoire is a fantastic outside shot. And when it's not going in, it's creating big rebounds. To start the second half, Banesh scored a goal off a rebound from a Steenhouse shot.
And this is the Rock's last home game of the regular season. Bandits trying to keep their playoff hopes alive with a win here. They're now up by 4. And Stephen LeBlanc was looking to really rip one there, but it went off the Buffalo defender. Priolo receives in stride, gets rid of it. There's Dane Smith, 6'3", 195 pounds of number 92. Thread the needle on that pass. And Smith takes it off of Banesh, who was not to his backside. Smith going in. Smith was raked, and Gilbert's lucky he didn't get a penalty on that. Toronto coming back the other way. There's Challen Rogers. Rogers will hold up, and some urgency has to start getting into the minds of the Rock here. Anthony Cosbo has been outstanding, as is the Buffalo defense. Oh, low pass, and a penalty coming to Buffalo. Nick Rose racing to the bench for the extra attacker. And went for the one-time swat by LeBlanc. Still kept in, and the whistle will blow to see what this penalty is going to be.
And Brock Sorensen is finally getting out of the penalty box. It was a first stoppage in play since his 5 minutes.
Kevin Burnell.
Full number 8, 2 minutes, illegal cross-check.
Illegal cross-check. Now we know that the Rock obviously appreciate this power play, Shanny, but they got to be careful because up 2 men, the Bandits scored shorthanded.
And it's imperative that Toronto scores a goal. They got to do something to break the goose egg that they've been looking at for a long time.
Not a goal this entire half, and then back into the second quarter. And swinging, and it was just 2 tight quarters.
Well, that was a nice play by the defender. I believe that was Nick Weiss. Intercepted that shot on the crease. Toronto was going for the back door, and Nick Weiss stopped it.
The only time they seem to be getting in close to Cosmo, Shanny, is they're right beside him on the post and wouldn't be able to do anything really with the ball anyway. And coming out the back door there, rose to his knees. Great save on Anthony Malcolm, who has a hat trick tonight, including that short-hander. And Buffalo was down 2 men.
Oh, well, he has been the star of the game, really, for the Buffalo Bandits.
Yeah.
He was scoring when they were doing nothing. And
minute 2 to go with the man advantage for Toronto. LeBlanc takes it. LeBlanc, high shot, rattles off the glass. Hickey corrals it in. Back to the point for Schreiber. To LeBlanc. Schreiber receives from the point behind the back pass. Well, that scores! Schreiber dishes to Hickey, the second time they've done that tonight. And the Rock finally score. They now trail 10-7.
Well, not a lot different from the goal they scored way back in the first quarter on the power play when Schreiber puts it to Hickey. This time he goes underhand. The first goal he went up high over Cosmo's head. I don't know how it squeezed in, but it did.
So both goals from Hickey tonight on the power play. So now Toronto down by 3. Lots of time left. Under 11 minutes now. Toronto has to turn this into a run. And you can feel the energy uptick a bit here in the Air Canada Centre. Great crowd tonight on a Good Friday.
Yeah, great crowd, but Buffalo had taken the crowd out of this game. That was the first bit of life we've heard in, 30 minutes it's been since Toronto scored.
Stephen LeBlanc sends it back to Schreiber. Schreiber, and that shot was redirected on the left his stick. McCardle gets tangled up with his man and shot clock violation as McCardle sent Will to the floor. And Big Dane Smith leads the Bandits with 68 points coming in tonight. Whoa! And the Bandits deliver again. We'll have to have a look at this, and that was a nice outside shot.
That's exactly what it was. Nice outside shot to the top corner, and the Bandits are feeling confident in their outside shots. Now they seem to be finding holes on Nick Rose.
Look, Dane Smith, he just planted it. He just beat him.
And if you think about it, many of Buffalo goals have been the outside shots. Even when Toronto was leading 6-3, it was the outside shots by Malcolm and Mitch Jones that were finding the holes on that power play. We saw Benesh scoring an outside shot, Staynow scoring an outside shot. So, whereas it appeared for the most part, Cosmo's not let anything in from the outside. They've been finding spots on Nick Rose.
Shanny, is this a time you'd consider pulling Rose for Brandon Miller, change of pace, or is it too late for that?
I think you'd definitely consider it. I think I actually looked to the bench after that last goal to see if they were going to do it. So, and it's the kind of goal. It's just the fact that it's another outside shot.
Going again, Steenhouse. It didn't get through, over the top. The rebound, another one. And Buffalo player lost his stick. Here's Captain Brody Merrill. He has 2 tonight. 9:20 left in the fourth. Toronto down by 4 again. Breaking over 30 minutes without a goal. And that power play score from Brett Hickey, his second of the night. It's Kieran McCardle. To the outside, McCardle spinning around alone. Ryan Holt and scores! Reed Roy Makes it 11-8 Buffalo.
And this is a play that has not worked all game for Toronto, the two-man game. The Buffalo defense had a breakdown, and Reinhold got wide open in front of the crease. And I think that's the first time I've seen this game where Buffalo has had a breakdown defensively to allow Toronto to get inside.
Shots even at 43. And we will take our first break of the fourth quarter. 11-8 Bandits up on Toronto. You're watching the National Lacrosse League on NLL TV.
Fans, time for another edition of Versus. Sean Evans going up against Miles Thompson. Champion play is Miles one-handed behind the back shot on the Colorado Mammoth. That one was a no-brainer. It goes up this week against Sean Evans, who cuts inside, takes the behind the back shot, short side on Mike Poulin, and makes no mistake. So fans, who have you got? Sean Evans from the Black Wolves or Miles Thompson from the Georgia Swarm? Head to Twitter now, cast your vote.
He's got Digby on the take, scores!
Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot. Hit the goal post inside, he scores!
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Action back underway. 9 minutes even to go in the fourth quarter. The Rock trail Buffalo 11-8. Toronto with possession. Going from left to right on your screen. There's Reid Reinhold. He scored the last Rock goal. Toronto went for over 30 minutes without a goal. Have scored a couple times recently. Tom Schreiber pass way wise. His stick was knocked as he released it. There's Reinhold in the near corner. 6 to shoot for the Rock. Reinhold turning it visible. And the Rock, that did not count on the shot on goal. Thought it might have touched the goaltender. Apparently not. Buffalo ball. And right off the bat, and the bench scores.
Called in the crease.
Called in the crease. That could have been a backbreaking goal right there, Shanny. That could have been a backbreaker. So the Rock will try to settle it down here.
Flag went.
Oh.
There's the flag.
Okay. And that's going to be from Troy Cordingley.
And, you know, whether they saw something or not, might as well call it. I mean, only 9 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, you got the flag, use it.
There was no replay shown on the big screen here, so it's not like the coaches had a chance to get a good look at something.
Right.
They're all looking up now to see what we're hoping to see.
And Shanny, the Rock thought that they should have got a fresh 30 on their shot clock.
I thought so too. Was it Reinhold?
He
drove to the net and created a good scoring chance. Let's see if we can see this here.
Okay, so there's Benet.
He's
in the crease.
Yeah, it looked like he stepped on before he even.
And the ref was right there too.
Before he even shot.
Yeah, the ref's in lockstep.
Yeah,
that's a good call. That shouldn't take too long to review.
No.
But as you said, Shanny, Cordingley has it to use, and hey, you know what? Maybe it is something.
He also knew he wasn't going to get a chance to watch it. Whenever there's a goal scored, the replay goes up. But when a goal is waved off, they don't necessarily show the replay. So he knew he wasn't even going to get a chance to have a look.
Let's see it one more time.
This should be definitive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just to show every fan in the arena what happened.
Just in case, it's a nice travelers from Buffalo up. See some orange jerseys and shirts sprinkled throughout the Air Canada Centre. No goal. No goal. And these two clubs will square off again the last game of the season.
Tons of time left in this game. It's had two huge momentum swings. All Toronto to start, all Buffalo, and lately we've been trading goals.
Right. And Cosmo down to a knee, diving out. What a save by Cosmo.
And that was a tricky shot. You know, those shots, there's been about 5 shots taken by Schreiber today that normally find the back of the net.
Yeah, because Schreiber's shot, he has that nasty 3-quarter delivery, kind of drops that shoulder. He can dish it from a few different angles.
Yeah, and he, you know, it's a surprise quick windup.
Right. Yeah, the release is so fast. Big rebound, follow the bouncing ball here. Toronto try and pick it up on the rebound. They do, and the shot clock will expire anyway. There's Gilbert. Gilbert rumbling. Gilbert had the stick knocked by Will and didn't get a whole lot behind it. So now the Bandits will come back the other way. Dane Smith takes it.
And Benesh is just at that door, always ready to jump on the floor.
Fake by Smith. Peeked everybody out. He pulled it back and will head to the bench. Stainhouse is there. He receives. He has scored a pair tonight. Has been a pest all evening for Toronto. Now hold on. A block there by the captain, Brody Merrill. Will this be number 3? No. Cosmo stoned him cold. But a great turnover created by Brody Merrill.
Created by Merrill, and you know, he had the hot hand. He's got to take that shot.
Anthem having a great game.
Like the rest of his band, it's Cosmo's been way better in the second half than he was in the first.
And Dane Smith went for that screen, similar to how he scored earlier. Rose saw it that time. And on the far corner here, have a scrum. Yeah, their shoulders down. The ball's still free, trying to kick it loose. Toronto finally gets it. And now Damon Edwards receives it in stride. Damon Edwards a 2-on-2. He will way off the bench. Edwards gets it back on the goal line. He's behind. And Edwards, showing maturity and patience, Edwards collides with Reinhold on his way to the bench. And Reinhold went 5-hole. Cosmo sitting back. He kept it out.
And Reinhold is finding some spots in front of the net. He's the only Toronto Rock player who seems to be getting open.
Since that first quarter, Anthony Cosmo has been unconscious. Absolutely spectacular. Anthony Malcolm, been a beast tonight off that back foot how he scored earlier. High fly ball, rattled off that glass. Reinhold spinning, a little spinneroonie there. And that's Billy Holstrauser's story. Toronto right on, big rebound. Cosmo out of his net. What a game we have here, 5:33 to go. Bandits up by 4. Make that 3, 11-8. And oh boy, 48-44. Toronto leads in the shot category. There's Stainhouse. Stainhouse rumbling in. And Rose with his glove hand. Crease violation anyway. Next goal is going to be huge here, especially if Buffalo gets it. Turner Evans creeping into Buffalo territory. Was put back out. Evans gets it again here. There's Kieran McCardle. Waits. McCardle. Talk about a quick delivery.
He's got a dangerous outside shot, but like everybody else is finding out, those outside shots aren't going in.
No. And Cosmo limiting the rebounds as well. Is he either able to get to it himself or sucking it in?
I think this is the best I've seen Cosmo play in a long while.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Probably all season. There's Dane Smith on the left wing.
But we saw even in the championship game last year, Cosmo had a hard time with the outside shots.
A couple long ones, right from beyond the line.
Zach Greer just inside the center line. There was a couple of long shots that beat him. He's fantastic on the outside shots today.
We'll take the break. 11-8 Bandits lead the Rock. You're watching the NLL on NLL TV.
Mia, I turn it over to you for this week's Unstrung Hero of the Week. A player who may not have chipped in on the score sheet, but contributed to his team's successes in some other ways. So, who have you got?
Well, we heard from him a little bit earlier on in the show, but my unsung hero for this week happens to be Frank Scigliano. It was a must-win situation for the Calgary Roughnecks, and he stepped up big between the pipes for this team. Taking a look at the numbers, 54 shots on goal. He had 46 saves in this game. As you mentioned earlier, this was probably one of his best performances so far this season, and under a pressure situation, he really helped out his team on the back end. He was even named the first star in the game, so that is why Frank Giuliano is my unstrung hero for this week.
He's got Digby on the take, scores!
Now back over to Dane Smith with a shot. Hit the goal post inside, he scores!
Afraid you might miss out on the big stories from your favorite team? Well, not to fear, the NLL newsletter is here. All you have to do is subscribe to the new NLL newsletter, and you'll get weekly updates from everything that is happening around the league. What are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
Empty net and an extra man for the Toronto Rock as we start things up back in the fourth quarter. 4:20 to go. Rock trail 11-8 to the Buffalo Bandits. Reed Rhino looking, and he creeped over, rebound, another save by Cosmo. Turner Evans trying to keep it, he does. Now he's double teamed, ball knocked free. Brunel was all over him. Ball still loose. See Priolo in on it.
Good job by Toronto to get that ball back. There's a lot of hustle from
and Rose was heading to the bench. Schreiber. Oh, and then Brett Hickey's lucky he got that ground ball. Over to LeBlanc, extra man on. Ball knocked away off the glass. And Rose is racing back. Brunel is body checked. And the Rock feeling the urgency with 3:40 left.
Well, you know, things are going right for the Buffalo Bandits when Toronto had a good scoring chance and the shot hit the helmet of the defender.
Yeah.
Didn't make it to the net.
Dane Smith in the slot behind the back. Attempt, it was off the mark, but Buffalo retains possession. Anthony Malcolm, number 93. He has been a monster tonight. Shot clock violation, Toronto ball, Rose to the bench, extra attacker set to come on the floor for Toronto. They went over 30 minutes without a goal after leading Buffalo 6-3 at the half. That's the Bandits ahead by 3, 11-8. Toronto looking, clicks with Reinhold, threads the needle to the left side, shot right on, and again Cosmo stops those long shot attempts.
You know, and even though Toronto's going east to west, Cosmo seems to be already waiting, set up for a Hickey shot.
And credit to the defense too, Shanny. He has full view. Like there's no blockage, there's no screens that are getting in his way. 2:34 to go. Buffalo just taking their time, trying to chew up as much clock as possible. Here's Stainhouse. Stainhouse will dump it. Time ticking away for the Toronto Rock with 2:22 left. Rose will be out of the net again. And it will be 6-on-5 for the Rock. Toronto taking their time, and they don't have a whole lot of it. LeBlanc and intercepted, dangerous pass with an empty net. And finds Priolo off the back and scores. And a dangerous pass, cross floor by LeBlanc, caused Toronto.
And that's the kind of half it's been for the Toronto Rock. Well, there's the replay of the easy part. The work was all done behind the play. Rich Jones, this is another example of where the goal scorer gets the credit, not the guy who did the work to make the big interception.
Yes, you're right. Now 12-8, minute 54 to go. And what a shocker. After that first half, the Buffalo Bandits playing for their season, heading to Georgia tomorrow. And Nick Rose still coming out. Rock not giving up. Last regular season home game. They'll have some work to do to try to clinch the second seed and get a home playoff date. Cosmo, man, since that first quarter, he has been. And that shot not getting through.
And the defenders, and you've mentioned, have done a pretty good job of getting in the way as well.
Another empty cage. Minute 22 left.
And they're not even going to force their way to the cage.
No, ball going out of play, and it'll go to Buffalo. Nick Rose will be called back in, or will he?
He's not sure what the coach wants him to do. He's going to stay off.
Interesting. I guess you got to gamble.
Yeah,
Dane Smith.
I don't want to get the ball back.
Dane Smith will just wait.
He'll eat some clock before he shoots. There's no point to take that outside shot yet.
Right, and Smith, whoa. And Smith being manhandled.
He draws a penalty.
Yeah. And that will do it. Dane Smith, the hat trick on the empty netter. So some stat padding by the Bandits here. With 1:01 to go, 27th goal of the season for number 92.
And this goal eliminates the penalty, but Toronto took another penalty here. Watch Brody Merrill.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if we're going to see it. He gave a bit of a bump to Merrill. Merrill gives one back. Merrill's the only one called on that.
Slashing the call. And tempers flaring, as is the custom between Toronto and Buffalo. And Shaney, they get to do it one more time. April 29, last game of the season in Buffalo. And because the Bandits win this game tonight,
that could end up being a very meaningful game, yes.
It really could. It really could. Last minute of play in a shocking second half here at the Air Canada Centre. As the Buffalo Bandits know their season was on the line. And to their credit, they showed up in a big way in that third quarter.
They sure did. You know, despite the fact they were down 6-1 at one point before they scored 8 straight goals.
They have a couple empty netters here late in the game. 26 seconds left. They'll get it back, and that'll wrap it up just about. .13 seconds to go. Is this the only game on the NLL schedule tonight? 4 tomorrow. 4 seconds left. And it is over. The Buffalo Bandits with the upset. 13-8 winners after trailing 6-3 at the half. And Shanny, we did up on NLL.com, wrote an article, and you were in on me on the audio piece with it, on the playoff race in the East Division and how tight it was. How interesting the final race will be. And after tonight, it gets a whole lot more interesting.
Yes, Buffalo just made it a little bit interesting. You know, figured Buffalo's really only chance was to make the playoffs is to sweep the Toronto Rock in their last 2 games. And they're one step closer to doing that.
Yep, they're halfway there. So, with that tonight, you have the Buffalo Bandits at 6-9. You have the Toronto Rock now at 8-8. The 4-game slate tomorrow is going to be very interesting because you have Buffalo going into Georgia. The Georgia Swarm, 10-4 on the year, have scored 42 combined goals. An emotional win tonight for the Bandits. We didn't expect Buffalo to win tonight, so we don't know, but it doesn't look like the Swarm would lose that with all their success at home.
You wouldn't think so.
But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But I really, you got to think that Georgia's the favorite team tomorrow by a huge margin.
I would think so.
The way they've been playing. But, still, it could come down to, if it comes down to a tie between Buffalo and Toronto, and Buffalo has swept this 2-game series against Toronto, they will have the tiebreaker, on head-to-head, and they would be getting in.
So we look at so that's Buffalo, Georgia, 7:05 tomorrow on NLL TV. Then Rochester into Colorado. Now, coming into tonight, the situation for the Rock to clinch was a Rock win and a Rochester or New England loss. So the Rochester Nighthawks all of a sudden have swapped down into last place, and they have to be concerned for their season.
Yeah, well, everybody's loving it when the team's above the Blues. So even Rochester, I'm sure they're worried about their own business, but that, it keeps things alive. The fact that Toronto lost as well, because if they end up tied with Buffalo, Rochester has the tiebreaker to them. So there's still so many permutations that could happen.
Right, and then we have New England into Saskatchewan to take off the Rush. The Rush, the only undefeated team at home in the NLL. So that's going to be tough. But for the New England Black Wolves, now at 8-8, if they pull off a massive upset, all of a sudden, well, they're tied with the Rock, and how interesting does that become?
Yeah, I can't see that upset tomorrow.
Me neither.
You know,
I didn't see 13-8 tonight.
Stranger things have happened, but I just don't see Saskatchewan, as strong as they are, losing to New England in Saskatchewan. And having said that, then it's just Toronto that goes into Saskatchewan. And I think that'll be a very difficult game for the Rock.
Well, next weekend. So getting back to the Toronto Rock here, the other game, Vancouver and Calgary, and that's I think if Calgary wins that at 7-9, Vancouver back a game, that third playoff spot is just about wrapped up.
That game is for the third playoff spot. Not officially, but really whoever wins that game is going in the playoffs.
That's a huge game.
Yeah, so it is the playoff game. You might as well say it's a one-game elimination. So I think that might be the most exciting game of this weekend because, we know that Vancouver has not made the playoffs since they moved to Vancouver.
No.
And whether Calgary's got off to a terrible start, each season they always find a way to climb past Vancouver at the end of the year. And usually they find a way to beat Colorado in the first playoff game. But 2 years ago, Calgary started 0-6, and they still climbed out of it and managed to get ahead of Vancouver. So Vancouver doesn't want to have that same old song. Nice try, but no cigar.
Right, and for the Rock, you mentioned that Toronto now, after this, they head into Vancouver to take on the Rush. As I said, undefeated at home in Saskatchewan. Then you finish up with Buffalo. Like this, depending how, if there's an upset tomorrow by New England, all bets are off. Like the only bet is that Georgia's taken the East Division title.